thank you so much for being on the program. I know we have a tight window here. Can you please give me a landscape of the nomination process for Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, and are there other nominees that Donald Trump is putting forward that are finding frictions inside of the Senate? What does the landscape look like, Senator?
Look, Pete and Kash are both making the rounds. They're both working this really hard. They're meeting with senators one-on-one, sometimes in groups. I hosted a large group meeting with about a dozen Republican senators Monday night with Pete Hegseth, and he made a great case for how the Department of Defense needs to be reformed. And make no mistake, Benny, the swamp hates these guys for one reason, because they're here to clean house. They know that both the Department of Defense and the FBI need a serious power wash, followed by a scrub with a heavy gauge wire brush. They will stop at nothing to make sure that the cleaning happens. That is why they're opposed. And that is exactly why we've got to get them confirmed. But as far as I can tell, they're making great progress. They're meeting one-on-one. They're going house to house, office to office. And they're making real progress. Look, there isn't a good reason not to confirm them. And I think we need to get that message out there far and wide and have everybody encourage their senators, Democrat or Republican, to vote to confirm them.
Yeah, we're seeing some frictions, especially with Pete Hegseth, over the last couple of hours, over the last couple of days. We've seen some reports, anonymous reports, very Kavanaugh-like, and you, of course, remember the Kavanaugh confirmations to the Supreme Court and those hearings, I think, quite well. And it really does reek of the most despicable tactics in Washington, D.C., pulling forth years-old anonymous reports or anything else they can pull, everything from the guy's mother's email address, which I don't know how the hell you're getting the mom's emails. It seems like such dirty tricks, such dirty operations, and it tells on itself, doesn't it, Senator?
Yes, this is what desperate people do when they get really, really, really desperate. They rush to anything they can find. They come forward with uncorroborated allegations, as salacious as they can find them, and they make them over and over and over again. And you know what they say in the media? If you repeat a lie often enough, eventually it becomes, well, journalism.
So let's talk briefly about John Cornyn, Joni Ernst, not specifically, but there's some of the two that have come out to the press as of late and not said no on Pete Hegseth, but said, no, we're not convinced on Pete Hegseth. Can you talk me through the what that hesitation would be at the moment? There seems to be quite a bit of attention on Joni Ernst, Lindsey Graham, John Cornyn.
Yeah, look, I can't speak for any one of my colleagues. I don't know exactly where they are on this, and so I'm not going to try to speak to that. What I can say is that there are a number of circumstances where members will want the process to play out, and they'll want to make sure that somebody goes through the confirmation process to ask them questions. That's reasonable. That's understandable. I think most of the time, most of those people among Republicans are going to get to the right answer. All we need to do is get a simple majority and we get them confirmed. Now, I hope, I expect, I wish, I want all of my colleagues to vote to confirm both Pete and Kash. We need both of them, and I implore all of my colleagues, Republicans and Democrats, to vote to confirm them. That said, the fact that somebody isn't yet ready to say how they will vote, especially if there's an interesting set of questions they want to ask at a confirmation hearing or prior to the confirmation hearing, those two things shouldn't be confused. So I wish I could speak more as to what their intentions are, but I don't know what their plan is.
Do you believe that Pete Hegseth will be confirmed by majority in the Senate?
I do. One of the reasons is, it's one thing separate and apart from whether somebody's just hesitating and whether they have a practice of allowing somebody to go through the committee process before weighing in. It's one thing for people to say they might have concerns or they might be reluctant to vote for somebody. It's quite another to vote not to confirm a nominee from your own president on a high-profile, prominent cabinet-level position or important sub-cabinet position like FBI director. They're very different things. We got to be very careful here not to allow any very small group of Republican senators to exercise a de facto veto at the outset without ever having to go to the floor and man up, woman up, whatever you want to call it, by actually voting no. Those are two very different things. And I think some of those who may have expressed reluctance publicly or privately or both are going to find that it's much more difficult on a high-profile, important, personally imperative appointment like these ones to vote no.
Yes, you know Kash Patel. You just hosted Pete Hegseth. Can you talk me through the Kash Patel nomination? What are you hearing in the background about that?
Very optimistic there. There really isn't a good reason for anyone, Republican or Democrat, to vote against Kash Patel. He's prosecuted more cases than Kamala Harris, and we all heard about her prosecutorial experience on the campaign trail. Not a lot of detail, but a lot of talk. But the leftist media obsessively, compulsively trashes Kash all the time, while completely ignoring the Biden family enterprise, while completely ignoring the blatant abuses that have taken place within the FBI, to which Kash Patel represents a real threat. Now, he's an outsider. He's got a unique blend of experience representing an intriguing candidate for spearheading civil liberty reforms within the FBI. His involvement in exposing the Russiagate hoax positions him really uniquely, really well to address potential political biases within the FBI. And as Kash likes to say, getting people back in the practice within the FBI of prosecuting and pursuing and investigating actual criminals. His work on the Nunes memo, which criticized the FBI and the DOJ for the way they handled surveillance of Carter Page, highlighted some really important issues regarding the justification for surveillance and the impartiality of actions within the FBI. So look, all of this stuff gives him a lot of insight into where the problems are, where the bodies, metaphorically speaking, are buried within the FBI. But it also gives him credibility to push for the reforms that we really need FBI to have, to make sure that their operations are conducted properly and without partisan influence.
You believe that Kash Patel will be appointed?
I do.
And will be confirmed. Correct, and confirmed.
He should be, and he will be. That is my prediction. Look, when you listen to people speak about Kash Patel, if among those who don't say I'm voting for him, among those who start to express concerns, they are really light on detail for why they might have reluctance. And this is because I think a lot of people are just reading headlines saying, oh, Kash Patel is a radical, Kash Patel is a reckless pick. But they can't back that up. This is a very thoughtful, smart man who understands the severity of the situation, and that's why they hate him.
Okay. So we move very, very quickly here to the Dr. Fauci pardon. I know this is something that is near and dear to your heart. You've been on this program talking about Dr. Fauci, and I know we're up against a hard out. What does this pardon signal to you from Joe Biden?
Look, one of the greatest hoaxes, I don't even know if hoax is the right word. One of the great travesties of our lifetime is what happened in 2020. The American people were fed lie after lie about the nature of COVID, about the origins of COVID, about Dr. Fauci's own actions within NIH, about his attempt to first continue to fund gain-of-function research, even though it was illegal to do so. And he did it by renaming it something else. I believe it was Mark Twain who said that if you name the tail of a dog a leg, the dog still has just 4 legs. The fact that you've named it a leg doesn't make it that. Fauci called gain-of-function research by another name, and on that basis continued it. And it was that gain-of-function research that ended up supporting activities at the Wuhan lab of virology. And that quite arguably contributed to our getting COVID. So he lied about what he was doing with gain-of-function. He lied about the origins of COVID. He lied about the nature of COVID. He recommended all kinds of protocols that proved destructive to the American people, not just to our economy and to our liberty, but to our way of life, to mental, physical, emotional health in America. And it was an incredibly costly maneuver. I find this whole thing very disconcerting. The idea of pardoning him for those things is really troubling.
I just want to thank you for, and this sort of buttons up the Fauci question, for being the godfather of Doge. in conclusion here, Senator, you are the godfather of Doge. And those who have been following your work closely enough know that a decade ago, you were speaking about Doge when it was just a twinkle in Vivek Ramaswamy's and Elon Musk's eye. And so we just want to say here live, thank you, Senator.
Thanks so much, Benny. It's a pleasure to be with you, as always.
The godfather of Doge, the great Senator Mike Lee. Godspeed, sir.